Yeah, I'm Daryl James, World War II veteran in Korea. I'm activist for against Don't Ask, Go Tell for more years than I can remember.
He turned 90 years old, World War II veteran, and he's been very eloquent over the years, speaking out. He was the chairman of the Riverside County Veterans Advisory Committee. He was the AMVEX Post 66 commander, and he's been an advocate for veterans for many years, and he was one of our strongest supporters, with vocal supporters of the memorial 15 years ago. He testified before the cemetery trustees and asked them to approve the memorial, to help raise money for the memorial. He was the first treasurer of AMVEX Post 66, and please welcome Daryl James.
Good morning. Thank you for turning out on a Sunday morning. Particularly, I'd like to say thanks to the band who added such a great feeling to the entire event. Pay your attention to this gentleman with the straw hat sitting in the chair in the red shirt. That's a bona fide war hero from Vietnam, Charlie Chaplin. He's been very active. My remarks this morning are actually going to be a repeat of what I said 15 years ago. It's going to be interesting because things have changed so radically since that time. Frank Moulton was a gangly kid, thin as a reed and 6'3". He was a high school geek. Actually, the word geek did not exist when we were classmates. We were children of the Depression, when Little League, saucer moms, structured intensive athletics for all youth was a fantasy for the future. Unless you were a truly gifted athlete with a bent for football, basketball, you really missed any chance to participate in organized sports. That's the way it was. And I, like Frank, was a geek. Our parents were too busy keeping food on the table and the rent paid to find time to encourage shy, insecure youngsters into organized sports. Later in college, while in college, I did participate in intercollegiate swimming events, but that's another story. But Frank and I formed a friendship that gave us both strength and love in those difficult days, as the Depression faded away with America's entrance into World War II on December 7, 1942. We were painfully aware of the Depression, as we both had part-time jobs to pick up spending money. Frank worked at a Walgreens drugstore in the Oakland Ellen Bank building, and I was a newspaper carrier for the Chicago Daily News, and later went to work for the National Tea Company as a produce clerk with this grocery chain now lost in history and mega merger. We were much more aware of what our hormones were screaming. Instinctively, we knew that our sexual preference inclined heavily and dangerously for the boys in our school, our classmates. Gay rights, gay pride were light years in the future. We knew what we were, we just didn't know how to put a word on it. So we found comfort in the fact that we were kindred souls. This friendship was one of naive closeness, a pillar of fortitude and guidance during some extremely difficult times. In other words, we muddled through a morass of social rejection that could only come from the pecking order cruelty of any high school social structure. I escaped into the Navy, leaving for boot camp one day after graduation, abandoning trauma, depression, rejection, and Frank. Without a doubt, this move changed my life. Had I stayed home to continue confronting animosity, sarcasm at every turn, I could have easily disintegrated into life-ending despair. Today, such actions by teenage gays are epidemic. But back then, my reprieve was the U.S. Navy. But what about Frank? After graduation, he continued working at Walgreens, got drafted in the Army, and late in 1944 was felled by a sniper's bullet on the island of Luzon in the Philippines, just a few short weeks before the war came to a victorious end. He was the only member of the Glenbard class of 44 to lose his life for his country. And he was gay. Who knows where his life may have led him? With his inner sweetness, had this gentle soul survived the war, he probably found himself teaching, maybe medicine, law, or garbage collecting. Whatever his career may have shown, he is now a mute issue. His potential and his promise belong to the ages. Maybe we didn't have a word for our sexuality back in those dark days, but that's not a problem today. We've come a long way since we were lost, confused high school boys. I am grateful that I survived this long to witness the evolution of incredible progress for gay rights and recognition. In no small way, we owe a lot to my dear Frank Moulton, as his sacrifice allowed our great country to remain intact, strong, and free. And with gays emerging closer to virtual and total civil rights, we are much more integrated into the social framework than we were in 1944. Sadly, as we enter this new millennium, you gotta remember this was written 15 years ago, there are many countries where gays are imprisoned or put to death. That hasn't changed. So again, thank you, dear Frank. It will be with special pride that I honor you this coming May 27th. On that day, our new AMBETS chapter in Palm Springs Gay Veterans will dedicate a beautiful new memorial at the Palm Springs Cemetery, commemorating the sacrifices of gay servicemen and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. For the first time in the history of our republic, we will pay homage to those gay servicemen and women who died in the battlefield with their straight brothers and sisters. News of this event has now reached national attention as talk show hosts Rush Limbaugh and God Hates Fags Fred Phillips are marshaling their forces to organize a major protest at the cemetery. But those of us who survived world wars will not be deterred. By standing proud and honoring our war dead, we will continue the steadfast march against all forces of evil, including fanatical right-wingers. Our presence at this most historic event will state in the strongest possible terms to take their venom to another window. By this dedication, Frank, your memory